guys, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here for a special Patreon one-shot. This month, the one-shots are a little wonky because I have military duties, so we're splitting them up into two different weekends, this weekend and the end of the month. But we're here. We have assembled our crew of patrons, and we are playing some Call of Cthulhu. And if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, like these fine folks, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon. Link for that down below in the description. While you're down there, click on that Discord link, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, Icon will unleash terrible eldritch horror on us. And two, every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to this channel to do things like keep my lights on, keep food in the fridge, also hire editors and artists and other cool things that we do here on the channel. With that, I will turn things over to our illustrious, amazing, enigmatic, beautiful keeper of arcane lore and secrets. Iquin, please don't kill me. Again.
No, I see how it works here. I see what you're doing. See what you're doing. It's fine. You have your meat shield, minimalist with us.
Listen, flattery and harmless flirting might save your life in Call of Cthulhu.
That is true. Welcome all. If we have people who've never played before, we're gonna play a version of Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. I say version because just as Mike, I am very rules light and I don't really like all of the rules, so I usually just ignore the ones that I don't like, and I will never let a cool story moment be ruined because of rules. So if you see that rules are missing or not done correctly, yeah, I'm probably aware and I'm probably ignoring it. So that's how it's gonna go. And don't know if you got the content warning in the tweets, but Call of Cthulhu is a horror game, so there will be horror things. I've tried to keep it nice, like a PG level, but be aware that a horror game does contain horror. So it's not to you. I'm sorry. Something else that I need to say before we get started? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to do my usual transformation then into the nice robed keeper of the secrets that I am. Just get it all.
It's supposed to be spring.
I
supposed to be spring.
Feel how the evil is already flowing inside of me. Oh, pure, concentrated ill will against my fellow humans. Oh, best feeling ever. So, now, as the dark and evil keeper, I will welcome you all. These people you see who will be playing tonight have characters. Those characters have a friend called John Smith. John has collected all of you into his car. It's been kind of a cramped ride, but he's taken you out to his father and his uncle's cabin out in the woods. Because he has an uncle, Martin Smith, who is the one who was supposed to be out in the cabin, and he usually phones home at least once every other day, and he uses the phone down at the old gas station because this takes place in the 1920s, so cell phones are not a thing, and the cabin does not have electricity, nor running water, nor a phone line. But Martin has gone completely silent for several days. There has been no phone calls, there has been no checkup, and both John and John's father, that I called Samuel, I think. Need to actually look up the name. They are worried for him. No, Samuel is his other one. Greg Smith. There we go. Named him after Greg. Didn't know I did that for a reason. Greg Smith, John's father, has sent John out with all of you to investigate why they can't reach Martin out in the cabin. The drive is a couple of hours along small, muddy roads out into the forest verge. You have arrived as the sun is going to start to lower a bit. It is somewhere in mid-afternoon, starting to be early evening. And it's not raining, it is sunny, but it has been raining for a couple of days, so the ground is a bit muddy. It takes a bit to jostle the old automobile up those muddy roads. But our game will start with the four of you exiting the vehicle. So I don't know if Mike's ready, but I'm going to switch my players over to the actual little map that I made, so you can actually see what you have. And the map is where you are is in the bottom middle. To the left, the yellowish looking car, just to make distinctions, that is Martin's car that is been parked in front here. And you all have just come and parked and exited the vehicle over here. And here is John leading the helm. I did not make a picture for John because I am lazy. So let's go around and you can introduce your characters as they step out of the vehicle. And I will let Draftir begin so she have something to do before I inadvertently kill her. Or your character.
Or advertently. It can be both.
Oh, it could be. It could be. I think later when you see Verna in her casket, she'll be wearing probably the same thing that she's wearing today. She'll have very short black hair, bright red lips going on, a pair of spectacles, a skirt that goes down below the knees. As with many women in the 20s, she'll be wearing long beaded necklaces, and she'll be wearing a cloche hat. And she's super professional, so she's wearing a women's suit jacket on top of all of that.
Okay.
Oh, you'll when she's living, you'll likely find her following along behind our good Captain Dashwood, taking notes or taking care of some sort of responsibility, making sure that he's comfortable.
Well, Captain Dashwood, let's move over to you.
Yes, Captain Herbert Daring Dashwood, as his media persona is a star of the newly created radiogram or radio. He has a radio program that is The Adventures of Herbert Daring Dashwood, and it is autobiographical about his adventures before and around World War One. And he is wearing a fine Savile Row suit. It's a crimson frock coat, a waistcoat, a sort of a tie, but he's wearing his riding boots as it's muddy around here, and he has a fine waxed mustache, as was the style.
Very fine.
We'll go with the top hat here.
I see. Anyone next? I'm gonna say in order of doing their homework and presenting characters to me, it would be Mr. Redworth.
Elias Redworth is kind of standing, getting out of the car. He's got that whole kind of two-piece suit with the vest on, kind of in a brown form, kind of looking around as he did with a cigar, kind of smoking in his hand. A relatively tall, decent-looking person, but honestly, I'm not really sure how to describe a 1920s person.
Doing fine.
And he's a professor from the University of Arkansas.
Like it. And then last but absolutely not least, Mr. Thorpe.
Rude. Walter Thorpe is probably the unlikeliest looking of characters against this backdrop. He has he looks like a dapper homeless man. He has fingerless gloves, which are tattered and frayed. Fingerless wasn't the style; they were made that way by himself. He has a what was probably once white sort of linen cotton shirt, like a button down, which is now that yellow, white, grayish color of like sweaty armpit stains on shirts. But the whole shirt is that sort of gross canvas color. He is wearing a thick, not quite trench coat, but definitely comes down to right above the knees, with the collar turned up. And you can see that there are patches of some sort of dirt or clay or mud or something that he like hastily wiped off in the car ride over here. He's wearing a simple pair of like pants. Jeans weren't the style, but they are definitely like thick, like outside working pants. And he has a pair of what probably once were fairly expensive, fairly nice over the ankle boots that are now absolutely tattered, scuffed, and barely holding themselves together. He has like slightly dark features, like tan features, a mustache beard combo, and he has a flat cap pulled down to just over his eyebrows. And you can see that he probably hasn't had a haircut in months. It sort of unfurls and wings out underneath the back of the flat cap.
Thank you. So all of you have just exited the vehicle. John, who actually knows his place around, has sort of taken just 2 steps forward, looking around, and he says like, well, over there is Uncle Martin's car, so looks like he should be around here. I wonder why he hasn't answered or like called us on the telephone.
Oh, dear boy, he's probably hunting out in the woods. What have you got round here? Deer, I'd say?
Yeah, there is some small game around here. Maybe let us all pray and hope that it's just as easy that he is out hunting and calling him back home slipped his mind this time. However, don't remember the cabin looking like that. And he points, and you can all roll me a spot hidden, and depending on how much success you get, I will tell you what you're seeing. All will get some, but some might get more.
Oh, different character sheet.
So,
They
yeah,
are
you should have.
alphabetical if it helps.
So look under S for spot hidden.
Oh, fuck off.
So hard success, then failures. So we're starting with the failures. You look over and the cabin looks, even though it is daylight outside, it looks very dark coming from the cabin, like unnatural dark and still. And you just don't really think about it. You have like you haven't been here before. No matter how you know John, this is the first time you've all been to his family cabin out here. However, maybe because it is that you are a secretary that knows to take down details, really knows how to look for stuff. But Verna, you notice that what makes the cabin look so dark and a bit strange that it is all boarded up, but all the boards are in the inside.
Verna comes up to stand behind Captain Dashwood and says, excuse me, Captain Dashwood, I'm sure that that you noticed that the windows are boarded up from the inside, as if someone maybe they're afraid of something. Maybe they're trying to block out something. I'm sure you noticed, though.
Oh, why, of course, my very dear Werner. Yes, or someone.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
I mean, I owed Uncle Martin a fortune on the betting on the GGs, but I don't believe he had any debtors.
All things considered, it's likely we'll find him hiding inside, don't you think?
Well, you can only hope. Or, yes, even though I do owe him money.
And John sort of listens into the conversation, sort of looks up at the cabin and says, yes, that is weird. He must be either then inside, it's only this cabin, and then he gestures towards a bit to his right. And like there's also like a guest room or a guest cabin. It's separate and smaller. And these are mainly the two only places he can be here. I mean, except for the outhouse, but surely don't think he would hide out in the small little outhouse. And you can see to the right of you, the very small little thing. There's an outhouse standing there, and then there's some small patch of wood, and you can see through the woodwork that it is another very much smaller, like one room little cabin sitting there. And then it's the big cabin in front of you with the spring water coming next to it on the left side. What would you people like to do?
Gwen, does the small cabin look any different from the larger one? That is, or does it look like there's been any alterations to that one?
There's like foliage and woods in between, so like for one, it's at an angle, and two, it's kind of heavily obscured by the actual forest. So you would need to venture over there to investigate it.
Then Verna will excuse herself from the captain and carefully pick her way through the brushes and take a look.
You follow the little footpath there is to get over there. There's still some overgrowth. No one has been tending to the garden, if you would call this more civilized patch of wood a garden here. But you make it over without too much hassle, and the smaller one does not look like the big one. It looks more like a normal cabin. There's clear windows. The door is closed, so are all the windows, but you can see through the windows as you come over here. And let's see, there we go. That's the tool I want. You can see inside through one of the windows simply that it is like a bed, wardrobe, a little coffee table with some chairs, and bookcase, and an open fireplace. And the cabin it's just like a guest room, but it's separate from the main house.
I presume it looks empty.
And you don't see anyone just looking in through the windows. So you would say that it is empty, yes.
Then Verna will make her way back. That little building looks clear.
Yes, rather quaint out here. Well, gentlemen, if you might help me opening the door here.
Seems like a place that you want to go for seclusion. John, why did your uncle live out here exactly?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
John, why did your uncle decide to live out here on his own exactly?
Oh, no, he's not living out here. He just came out to have, some recreation and some restful time. He was supposed to be here for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but we haven't heard from him. And he usually always calls back home family at least every other day. And it's been 3 or 4, maybe even 5 days since he was supposed to come up here, my father said, and no one in the family has heard anything from him. That's why we got a bit worried. And since there are no telephone, we can't call up. So my father asked me to go up and investigate. And since it is quite a trip up, I wished I had, some more capable people with me. So that's why I asked all you to join.
I can't help but notice the boards the little lady here pointed out. They're on the inside.
They are, and that is weird. The cabin has never been boarded up when I've been here before.
Yeah. So, here's the thing, though, right? If you board up your house against a storm, you board it up from the outside because you're trying to keep something outside from getting inside. They can't push the boards in. Wind. If you board the house up from the inside, reason would have you believe that you're trying to keep something inside, since they can't push the boards out through the walls. I would be remiss to just walk in there and open the door.
I don't think you can if it's been barricaded properly.
Right.
it's been barricaded, no one should be able to get in either.
Is there a rock around, Iquin?
There
Like
are
a
several rocks around.
sizable, like a softball skull sized rock.
Well, yes, there is a multitude of rocks laying around, especially close to the little stream that goes down. It's not really a sandy beach, it's more like a muddy, rocky situation going on. It doesn't take you long at all to find a softball-sized rock.
Perfect. Sorry, you said all of there's no windows on the little side situation over there? On the side shack?
There are windows on the side shack. The one that Verna went over to investigate has windows, and she looked in through them and concluded that that part was not boarded up and that it was empty.
Gotcha. Cool. Walter is going to grab one of these softball-sized rocks, and he's going to walk up towards the house, towards one of the front windows.
Right. You can choose the windows to the left or to the right. There are no real windows on the front for some reason.
Let's see.
Reason being that I forgot to place windows there.
That's fair. He is going to go
mind.
To the right side. Sorry, to the left side. So to the lake side.
To the lake side. Yep. Sure. There are 2 windows that are immediately. Then there's some distance, and there's 2 more windows on that side.
Whatever window is the first window that he encounters, he's going to take this rock and the board that is right above the window sill. He's going to bash that single board in.
Sure. Let's see. What would I have you roll to bash that? I would say.
Can do brawl.
Yeah, could be brawl.
Or strength. I'll you can do strength as well.
No, you can use brawl if you want to. Let's do that.
Strength would be higher if I.
Okay, fine. Take your strength. You were nice to me before.
Once.
Extreme success.
Excellent.
I finessed those boards off. Also, I have to give kudos to Melissa for clearly being a player who's died in Call of Cthulhu before, for coming in with a fucking 90 spot hidden. It's like it's one of the most important skills, and that's the true gem of someone who's died in Call of Cthulhu before. It's just like, you know what? I see everything from now on. I see all the bad guys coming from a mile away. Perfect.
For the after show.
Yes. I mean, when you've died so many times as I killed Dratish characters,
hey,
you're gonna get to learn. Anyhow,
with these after show exclusives.
I've killed her in.
We need money first.
I kill her in non-stream games, so.
So he's gonna smash in. Like I said, if it's just lateral boards, whatever one's lower to the sill.
Yeah, you smash in, like for the extreme one, you smash in the one board and you manage to grab the one above it in just pure skill of bashing rocks against things. It's like you've always done this. It's
That's
like
true.
Your ancestors has taught you the skill of bashing things with rocks.
Perfect.
You look into let me get the can I thank you, Roll20. It's much easier when you work with me.
Oh, I nailed that. I couldn't see that window and I put myself right next to it.
Yep. You look into that. It looks to be like a living room space in there. You see like a couch situation with a table. There are some big like what do you call those, like chalice things, like the wheels with candles from the ceiling hanging down
like a chandelier.
Chandelier. Yeah, chandelier. There we go. That's what a word I was looking for. Chandelier. There are some bookcases. There's a desk. There's some like stag things going on up on the walls. And what would be the most interesting thing is that over in the right upper corner, as you look in, you see a skeleton lying on the floor.
You know what? From here, without going in, I assume this will be a difficult role here. I am an archaeologist.
Mm-hmm.
Does this look like one of those like medical school skeletons that they have hanging up by the thread on the thing that's not a real skeleton? Or does it look like an actual skeleton?
Roll your archaeology to see, I would say. That will be the most apt skill for an archaeologist to try to archaeology.
Jesus Christ. No.
Unfortunately, that's paleontology you were looking for.
That's true.
In my world, it's whatever I want it to be.
It's whatever
It explains the bad roll.
So, to go through some of the rules, you can in here also push rolls. If you push a roll and fail again, so pushing is just re-rolling, you tell me a little story of what you do different to try to really get it to work. And then if you fail again, horrible consequences to my choosing. But if you succeed, you succeed. So you can use that. Some rolls cannot be pushed, and I will tell you which one they are. It's usually when you get scared of things, you can't push those rolls. And you can either use that or burning your luck to lower the 89 down to a 75 to get a success if you so choose.
No, he's gonna let that stand. He's gonna see that, kind of like squint into like the fading sunlight of this room, and he just kind of calls back over his shoulder, "Hey, there's bones in here, like a whole skeleton of bones."
It is very dark inside the cabin since you only remove the 2 boards, and the rest of everything is very tightly boarded up now when you're really up and close to it. There's like no springs in between. And if there were, you can see that they are filled with like fabric and other stuff to make them really be completely filled.
Yeah, there's a whole body's worth of bones in here, and man, he really went to town boarding this place up.
Verna leans over to Captain Dashwood and says quietly, "Bones, it hasn't been long enough for a body to decompose into bones." And then she's just taking notes everything that's happening.
I say, John, when did you last hear from dear old Uncle Martin?
I think the last time that I know that anyone from the family spoke was the day he left to go up, venture out. I wasn't there, so my parents said it's somewhere between 3 or 5 days ago. They don't really recall. You know, it was more like he gave us a phone call, said, "I'm going up to the cabin for a couple of weeks, call you when I get there." And nobody really thought about it until it was like, did anyone actually get that call? I remember my parents talking about, and then when we sort of concluded that no one in the family has actually heard from him, that's when we started to get worried. And then I gathered all of you, and my father asked me to take this trip, or my father actually asked me first, then I gathered all of you, and then take the trip up here to make sure that he is okay.
Yes, quite sticky wicket. Dashwood's gonna subtly open his frock coat and check that the Webley revolver is where he left it, and that he hadn't gambled it away for wine, women, song, that sort of thing.
Oh yes, all that gambling that happened in that one car with all the people that are now here.
Well, why else do you think he's here? He owes the entire Smith family money.
Right. Yeah, here you are. There's a skeleton in the very dark abode of the cabin main room. That's I don't know, what was he call it? Dapper hobo person checked out. But yeah.
Verna will pick her way up over to Walter Thorpe so that she can peek into the window as well. But as she's standing near him, she's trying to keep as much personal distance from him as possible, as he doesn't look like a particularly safe character.
He doesn't smell too good either.
No.
Actually, he smells like dirt and sandalwood.
An odd one, that one is.
Sandalwood's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, sandalwood's good.
But it was the 1920s, so we made him ride all the way here in the dicky seat.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe before heading over to the window, she'll go by way of the door, just to give the door handle a try, just in case.
You do so, and the door is very much locked and or boarded up. It doesn't budge.
So then after that, we'll head over to the window. Walter hasn't opened it wide enough for us to get in, right?
The first 2 boards, so I imagine they're 2x4s, so like
Mm.
8 inches or so. So maybe it depends how small you are.
Yeah, if you're a petite build, then you could probably squeeze through.
Well, Mr. Thorpe, either you pry loose another board, or perhaps I could squeeze in.
Yeah. Hold on a second, and he bashes the next higher board up.
Oh, excellent. There's plenty of room for you now.
Oh, I see. I see what we're doing here. Ladies first. As a gentleman.
She hands Walter her bag and says, "Please hold
Mr.
this."
Thorpe, as a gentleman, I'd like to point out that a gentleman does not ask a woman to do things that would get her dirty in any way.
I would like to introduce you to my friend Sarcasm. And he holds out a dirty gloved hand to like help her into the window.
I assume that Dr. Thorpe is more used to dealing with ladies of the archaeological persuasion who are quite immune.
Verna drops her bag into the hand that Walter Thorpe held out, will clutch her skirt to her side and clamber in the window.
Roll me a dexterity to get in through the window, as it's easy, but not super easy to get through.
Let's see how this goes. Okay.
No, you apparently, as a secretary, know how to break
Verna's
into
here.
buildings, climbing in through windows.
Verna's here to solve the mystery. The rest of us just came along for the ride.
Sure, you make it inside.
Definitely.
It is, it's like a bit stuffy since everything was really shut, but you don't see anything looking all too out of place for a normal cabin as such, except that there's a skeleton in the one corner. That is a bit weird, even for you, but that's a bit weird for most people. But other things, like there's no thick dust layer on stuff. There's no like books being tossed and furniture being turned over. Nothing of that sort. It looks kind of like clean and kept for the most part. And then you have the very weird skeleton. Except the front door, you see that on the opposing wall to the outer front door, there's 2 other doors leading into 2 different rooms.
And is the front door boarded up, or is it locked? Can I tell from
the front door? Even in this darkness, like there you have some light now when you have removed like half the boards from the window, and the sun is starting to get low, so you do have some sunlight peeking in through the window. And you can see that both the inner doors have been boarded up from this room, and the outer door has also been. The inner doors, however, has not been as thoroughly boarded up as the other windows and the front door. They are meticulously boarded. Every like little cranny and nook has been stuffed with something, either a board, some piece of cloth, or something. So they make them like completely sealed.
Verna will wave her kerchief in front of her face to clear the stuffy air. Will hold out her hand outside the window for her bag, and will pause until there's a bag in her hand.
For a minute, like Thorpe is not paying attention at all, and then he sees the hand just like in his face, and so he places it in there. And as the hand is reaching back inside, seeing that she wasn't attacked by anything ravenous or hungry, he pulls himself through the window as well.
And then Verna, once he's in, will lean out the window and say, "Gentlemen, I dare say the skeleton holds no danger for us."
No,
I would like you to always roll me a dexterity check to see how well you get through the window.
To the window.
I do think the skeleton might already be dead. I'm afraid his days are through.
Messy.
You You get in. It's not as nice and dexterous as Verna. You manage to hook yourself somehow on one of the boards, ripping it with you, like coming in, landing on your face, getting the board on the backside of your head as it comes
Perfect.
with you in. But you are inside.
Nothing Walter does is elegant.
Points for effort, if not for grace.
Mm.
I
you see
give
the
it a
same-
3.
Is you're all outside. You can't see shit. I can't get in your walls. You got to open the window, buddy. Is Verna in the doorway, like in the interior doorway?
Yes, she had leaned out the window, so maybe she's to the side between the doorway and the window.
Perfect. Yeah, so he's
Hey,
going
Herbert,
to.
do
So
you think they'll open the door for us?
Walter is going to go to the door, and not out of any sort of misplaced courtesy, but as needing a path of egress, he's going to start dismantling whatever is blocking the door from being closed.
My mother would say patience is a virtue, my dear professor.
You start to work on that. and
I wish
you
my
don't need-
students had it much.
You don't need to be hasty about it. You start to disassemble the hastily, from your perspective, built barricade or boarding or whatever you call it from the front door. But it will take you a while because it is like boards for 2x4s that has been nailed into the surrounding like door frame of the door to keep it shut. And there's also some nails going into the door itself.
If it looks like it's going to take some time, being that Miss Verna is already in here, he's going to poke his head back out of the window and says, "Hey, could either one of you go to the trunk? I got a bag in there. It would make things a lot easier."
Mm-hmm.
I got you, good sir.
Of course.
Miss.
And the archaeologist never leaves home without burgling tools.
Well,
Elias goes to the trunk of the car and grabs this mysterious bag that he has no idea what Walter
yeah, it's
even
just
has
like
in there.
it's like a canvas knapsack that has like a bunch of like things in it. It's like his backpack. While that's happening, he turns around and looks and says,
Quite weighty to this bag. Why does he need it? Do you want me to throw it in through the window?
I'll just come. I'll come." And he puts a hand out.
Elias walks over to the window and hands the bag.
"Thank you." He grabs it, opens the little buckle, pulls out a crowbar, drops the bag down, and begins to wrench the boards. And he like pulls the first one out and he stops and says, Miss
Thorpe, or sorry, Miss Bryant.
Miss Thorpe, if you're lucky." And he says, "Miss Bryant, I am Mr. Walter Thorpe." And he sticks out a hand, and you can see, much to your discerning eye previously, there is absolutely dirt under his nails. His hands look like mechanics, like that thick kind of like big fingers, but they are dirty, cracked, calloused, sticking out from under the glove. And he puts his hand towards you to like shake your hand, not in a way that's like dapper, but like demure. He's shaking your hand like another man.
Well, Verna will be demure and won't give the full hand. Will only give the tips of the fingers, just
Perfect.
the tips of the fingers as he's trying to grasp her.
Yeah.
And she'll say, "Pleasure."
Very much.
And then we'll slide her hand behind her back and try to discreetly wipe it off.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. He tips his cap towards you, and then he begins to like wrench more of the nails out of the boards.
Yeah, there's several boards, but now with the crowbar, it's a lot faster. Man, I'm losing all my words right now. I don't know what's up with me. Anyhow, you managed to decommission or remove the boarding. Disassemble, if you would like, the boarding up of the door within like 20 minutes or so. Guy made an actual kind of like, even if it was hastily, it was like a lot of nails. And it's, as you work with it, being a man that seemed to be more of a handyman, know how to work with his hands, you recognize that this was like hastily made, but also overkill at the same time. Like there was no proper measurements or placement other than just getting it as tight as possible. So you have like boards of all the wrong sizes in lengthwise just hammered there, but there's also like 20 nails sometimes in one board, which is way overkill for this kind of job. So whatever was done here was weird. The other people that are currently outside, what would you like to do?
Elias is gonna wait by the front door for Walter to get the door open, and he's gonna turn to John. What if we don't find him?
Yeah, well, I guess we will have to contact the authorities to help us conduct a wider search then. Unless you think that we are equipped enough to go through the woods and look. They're mostly harmless. There's just this one place that Father always talks about called the Humming Hills that he just utterly forbids us to travel through, but it's a bit away, so it shouldn't be any problem. And as I understood it, Samuel, my grandfather, has told, and his grandfather and grandfather has told in generation everyone to stay away from there. So there's really nothing that I think would make Martin go over there at all. I would be very surprised if we don't find him here somewhere.
If my time, John, in the Great War taught me anything, is that you need a professional search. You need a professional search party. There's no point all of us getting lost in the woods as well, which is most likely what has happened. Occam's razor and all that.
Might be. I don't know.
I agree. I don't think any of us are woodsmen and would know anything about the lay of this land. So I think the proper authorities would be via the best idea. Maybe a ranger or two.
Yes, I'm sure the parks people.
I agree. The roads can be a bit dangerous and slippery at night when we are here. So I would suggest that we search through the cabin, the immediately surrounding area, take a good night's rest. We'll have to do something about the situation, but
Head to the
Miss
phone.
Bryant can have the main bed, and we'll do some camping out in the living room area, I guess, for the night, and then we can head down.
I don't
tomorrow.
mind sleeping on the couch. I sleep at my desk too many nights these times.
Yes,
yes.
Professor,
Let's make those newly minted national parks Johnnies do their job. Make Teddy Roosevelt proud.
Yes. So by tomorrow we could head down to the diner and place a call to the proper authorities if he's not found. But I'm really hoping that it just be, some kind of misunderstanding or slip up, and we will find everything is fine in here.
I'll get the provisions from the car then if we're to make camp.
Hey, Miss Bryant.
Yes.
You ever light a chandelier before?
Of course I have.
Great. Could you look around for the stick thing to light the candles?
Excellent idea. Iquin, Verna is going to look around, not just for the light, but we'll just be giving a thorough search of the area. And as she goes, looking for both whatever might be seen as well as a way to light the candelabra. She'll also be taking notes.
Okay. And roll me a spot hidden then for searching around. Somebody came prepared. You walk around and you easily find the stick lighting thingy, whatever it's called, that you light chandeliers with. It's placed over in one corner, easy to find. And you go around, you see that they are right next to the skeleton. There seems to be like more scratches in the floor than anywhere else. You get some wear and tear on wooden floors, which these are, but there seems to be more of them. It's not super abundant, but your very sharp eyes catch that it looks like something like have scratched the floor up here, like a cat with claws or some kind of animal, perhaps something, but it's not like not super deep. It's not super as such. It's just that you notice that something seems to have had happened here. And also, with a very nice hard success, you do see that the skeleton is laid on its stomach, like facing down. And it's such a position that you look at it, and then you look up at the desk, and you see that there is a note, and there's a fountain pen lying, like not in its proper place, but just on the side of there. And the note seems to be very hastily written. You see that there is no nice and neat handwriting. It's just scribbled, furiously scribbled.
So Verna will first light the lamps, and then with using that fantastic light, which I'm sure it brightens up the room, she'll read the note.
It provides enough. So the note says, and I'm just going to share it with everyone so it's easier. I must hurry to take down these last notes as warnings to anyone who might venture here. Dad was correct to forbid us from going over to the Humming Hills. There lies only death and destruction there. Please, if you find this note, it is not safe. Listen for, and the text just abruptly ends there.
Well, I think our skeleton friend here left a note, Mr. Thorpe. I'm sure Captain Dashwood will know exactly what to do as soon as he's in. So please hurry.
What? And he immediately stops whatever he's doing.
Verna points to the note at the on the table. But please don't let me distract you.
No. What you said is of some concern to me. I know, obviously, that the skeleton couldn't itself write the letter, but if that skeleton is to be presumed to be the person we are here looking for, that is not possible.
I would agree, but regardless, the skeleton very likely left a note. Iquin, the skeleton that had the scratches around it, do the bones look like they have scratches on them as well?
You can investigate the bones and see. Do you know anything about bones in your occupation?
I know a little bit about first aid, but Verna's not a doctor.
This would be more natural world or medicine to know about bones and what they're supposed to look like, rather than what these, or if these look like these. I would stretch it to archaeology.
I
mean
if that's
natural world, possibly. Dr. Thorpe?
I was going to say, he'll walk back over there and take a look at the bones as well.
Verna will point out the scratches around it. Do you think it's possible something ate the flesh from the bones?
Well, again, the windows are boarded up from the inside, so it does believe to me that he's trying to keep something inside the house here. That is, my concern is, if that is the case, he looks up at the now lit ceiling.
And while he does that, Verna's going to look around at the furniture to see if there's anything big enough to hold a beast in it.
Anything big enough to hold a beast in? Well, it's a couch. I mean, you could technically get a mountain lion to be on top of.
The table is open, though. Cabinets don't seem large enough to hold a gigantic flesh-eating beast.
There's no steamer trunks full of cannibals. I think we lost Iquin.
Yes, we did.
No.
Yep.
Let's talk amongst ourselves.
So we solved the mystery, and we successfully defeated Cthulhu.
Yep.
I wonder.
Foolish.
I'm sorry, but Hudge is I wonder if Iquin's played the forest or not, because I'm getting those vibes right now.
Oh yeah. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Iquin, come back. We need you.
Yep.
Yeah,
sorry, stream. We lost the keeper.
Yeah. Well, it's he needs
Cthulhu has stolen him from us.
Oh yeah. He's
We're
so
just
good.
gonna have a normal night at the woods. Nothing goes wrong. And we
He's
go
so
home.
good that the big man himself has called him up. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We
Terrible
go.
day.
So we had a carefree night with no mysterious eldritch horrors, and we're good.
And we called the National Park Service on our way out of there.
I believe he's back.
Fun.
You're good. You're
You
good.
just it soon crashes. I told you it's unstable. I don't know what has happened to it.
That's all right. You're back.
I am back.
Walter looks around, like he looks at the ceiling as Verna looks around at the various cabinets and whatever. He says, well, if there was something that ate our friend here, they are smart enough to hide and to also use doors. And he like points at the 2 closed doors on the back wall. So that's also concerning. But let me take a look at this. And he like crouches down to look at the bones to give a quick archaeology check here.
Meanwhile, Elias and Herbert are still just outside.
Oh yeah, we're smoking cigars.
What's
Having
taking
a
them so long?
good old
He's broken out
time.
the brandy.
They just don't want to climb through a window. It's just
You
Yep.
You notice while looking over the bones that it is very much as Miss Bryant suggested. These bones look like they had been cleaned by like something eating the flesh and stripping everything solid of all of the bones. They look like the most fine-tuned pair of ribs you've ever seen.
Walter he's seen some shit in uncovering ruins of kind, and he like squats down and kind of like almost taking things for granted. He like squats down and like looks at all of this and seeing what he originally expected to kind of see, and then another thought just sort of hits him over the head like a loose 2x4, and he turns and he says, Miss Bryant, you just stood over a corpse, read a note, and also alleged that some sort of beast ate our friend, and you didn't blanch, wince, or bat an eyelash. What is your profession, if I may ask?
Well, I'm a personal assistant, Dr. Thorpe.
For a murderer? What?
Well, it pays to be level-headed.
Okay, I don't have an argument with that, but you are the most level-headed person I've ever seen.
And what about you, Dr. Thorpe? I didn't see you have any strong reactions. And she takes a note.
The number of skeletons I have uncovered in my digs is astronomical at this point, so you sort of just tune them out after a while. I may not work in the paleo department, but I have seen a number of dead bodies.
You would expect those died of natural causes long, long ago. Clearly, this person didn't do so.
Well, I mean, if natural causes include removing of the head, removing of the heart, etc., etc., sometimes they can be natural causes. This man was chewed on. He was eaten.
Oh, that's. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. But perhaps we should bring in Captain Dashwood. I'm sure Captain Dashwood would know what to do at this point.
Walter is now more concerned with the secretary than the bones. The fact that she is so unflinching in the face of cannibalism is
cannibalism.
Yeah.
You see, she does a lot of research for the radio show.
Yeah, Walter is now more concerned with how unflinching she is in the face of a murdered and consumed man. And he like gets up, but has that like weary squint at her, like that leery squint of like, okay. And he makes his way back over to the door and begins wrenching the boards back down again.
You wrench out the last of the boards. You've been going at it for some time here now, so the sun is about to set. You have like maybe tops 45 minutes to an hour of sunlight left in the day. And an idea hits both of you, Miss Bryant and Dr. Thorpe, that there is no blood around the skeleton, or any remains or anything that looks to have been dragged any which way. There's just a very, very clean space underneath this very cleaned up skeleton. And I'll give that to you because you've all had hard successes for all of this. And the door is now open, so I can actually even open it in Roll20. Boop. There we go. And the rest of you are now free to enter.
Did you guys just not feel like climbing in through the window? You just wanted to wait till the door was open for you? We kind of...
In this suit, Mr. Thorpe, in this suit. It's not quite designed for it. Dashwood will...
I agree. And besides, I only get paid so much by the university. You think I'm going to ruin something?
No clothing allowance either. No clothing allowance. So, national shame. Dashwood will put down a big tea chest full of provisions. There's various bottles of liquor and a couple of champagne and a provision of and a hamper or two of provisions.
As soon as he set those things down, Miss Bryant will approach him, clear her throat, and then begin to give him a tour of all of the things that she has seen of interest.
Yeah, it's a dead fellow.
You see, that's what I expected you to act. Carry on.
I like that you also just put down...
Quite unsettling that there is a rather oddly clean skeleton in this corner.
I just like that you put down a lot of booze in the middle of Prohibition. With just the random people around.
I don't think the Volstead Act had come in yet.
Oh, I'm sure he has a special license.
Was in the 1920s.
It's nothing to worry about.
You never said when in the 20s it was.
It's always Prohibition when it's in the 1920s, Call of Cthulhu. Makes it much more fun.
Yeah, it started in 1920. It started in the October of 1919.
So what should be our next steps?
I guess a little decorum. And he
Yes.
shrugs and looks at everybody. Hey, John, I'm sorry that your relative is dead. My sympathies. And he looks around at everyone else who's just like, pip pip cheerio, have an ale.
We're out of here.
Is there somewhere that we can bury him or something we can do for your family
Well,
member?
we don't. That's not our job. We should make sure that the police come and see the scene. I think we've answered the question.
Can we at least cover it up?
Yes, please. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but it's very unsettling. And you see, John has taken a seat in one of the armchairs that are around
one
the
of
coffee
these
table.
doors back here a closet, or would lead to a closet that might have a blanket or something to cover the skeleton up?
Yes, but don't put the skeleton in the closet. I believe that's a writing cliche. At least that's what the writers on the program tell me.
There is not such as a closet. The left door leads into the master bedroom, and the right door into the kitchen.
All right, then I go see if there's a spare blanket to the master bedroom. Elias walks over to the left door, and he's going to open it with no regards to any possible suspicious things going on.
You see the same thing as you open it up. There's a large bedroom. There's dressers. There's a bed. There's some things. There's 3 windows in here, all 3 boarded from the inside, and the door also boarded, but not as thorough as the other ones. Here you could more easily just pull 2 or 3 boards away, and you have unboarded this door. So it has not been done at the same level as the windows. The same with, you see the door over that Jan mentioned being into the kitchen also have a couple of boards, but not as thorough as everything else.
Gentlemen and lady, are either of you, are any of you carrying some sort of weapon for self-defense, or should we see if there are any, hunting implements in the cabin?
Why would I need a weapon? I am a professor.
Yes, a weapon of rapier wit and a sound mind have often got me out of many a scrape, but also has the Webley. It's almost dusk, and whatever finished off this fellow or fellow unknown here might come back.
Well, we have solved the mystery. Unfortunately, John's family member is dead. We could just get back in the car and go home.
Certainly an idea with no drawbacks.
John is sort of sitting, rubbing his temples in the armchair and says, yes, as I suppose, but you really shouldn't be leaving until the daylight. The roads are very dangerous here at night.
And John, did your uncle, I don't know, had he broken any bones in childhood? Did he have any, fillings, perhaps?
I Not that I'm aware of. I mean, perhaps, but not that has been spoken to me about.
Yes, just wanted to double check we have the right fellow. You never know when you can mix up your skeletons.
There is, I must admit, a hope that whatever poor bastard met his or her fate here is not Uncle Martin, but I mean, it is our cabin, and
a traveler could have wandered here off the road and accidentally fallen into the mouth of a mountain lion or something. Actually, they only have those in California. Puzzling.
I would like to point out that I don't think any wild creature would clean that skeleton so pristinely.
Oh, bloody cannibals in this new world of yours, is it?
Well, perhaps Dr. Thorpe can open the doorway to the kitchen in order for us to get some additional hunting implements. In the meantime, let me check this room over. And so Miss Bryant is going to head over to the bedroom there and see if there's anything of interest to be seen.
Roll me a spot hidden over there as well. What kind of goddess of sight are you?
One with 90.
Miss Bryant is clearly some sort of witch.
Yeah, you go around that room like it's no one's business. You look in every drawer, you look through every dresser, you even look underneath the bed, even though it is very much a stereotypical thing to do, and you come up very empty. So since you have an extreme success, I will give it to you that it's the opposite around here. You don't find anything in the way that you are very secure that there is nothing of interest in this room. You have looked at everything. There are no marks, there are no tussles, there are no notes, there is like nothing that you can see. This is just bedroom linens. There are also, of course, male clothing in the dressers and the cupboards and such, presumably Martin's, but there is like the boarding of the windows is the most remarkable thing, and that you already sort of knew.
And did Redworth cover the skeleton with a blanket?
He has not done that yet. He was about to grab the just top comforter off the bed.
Bryant will help Redworth with that, so taking the other side and helping him fold it so that he can take it into the other room.
Yeah,
oh, well, I very much appreciate it.
Together, you manage to fold it up. It's nice. It's not hard. You go over and you put the comforter over the skeleton, sort of covering it up. Easily done.
Walter walks over while everyone, like, he definitely stood there dumbfounded for a minute. because he is the gruffest and dirtiest among them, but the cavalier nature of this corpse and this becorpsed family member has struck him. But he does walk over to that table, pull up that note that Verna had found, and he sort of brings it over to John and says, "Hey, does this mean anything to you?"
He reads it, sort of. Yeah, I mean, not much, but the Humming Hills is, like I said, it's a place where we're not supposed to go. Father always told me that it would be a severe punishment if I ever venture over there. We went close one time just for him to show me where the area is, so I know where not to go. And it's maybe an hour's walk from here over into the woods. And from what I understood with the Humming Hills is that my grandfather Samuel was very strict about no one ever going up there, and his father and grandfather before him was very strict with. I don't really know why. Father said that he would talk to me about it at some point, but so far he's never done. So I don't know why it's forbidden. It's just, I was told as a young child, and I didn't really question it after a while.
Right. Okay.
Well, that is the thing about those tales is you tell them as a children. You don't tell them why because they're probably not old enough to understand. Then you tell them when they get older.
Well, I am in my 30s now, and he still hasn't told me, so.
Did you ever deign to ask?
Like he said, it was something that was told to me when I was young, and then it sort of slips to the back of your mind. You don't go there, no one goes there, and you don't question it when you're young, and never really came up much after that.
Some of
Maybe
us did question such things in youth, John. That's why they're doctors and professors.
I'm sorry that I didn't question this one thing that was forbidden.
Seems rather odd. It's like once my mother once forbid me from going into the orangery. Did I? Hell!
You must remember, we're not all Captain Dashwood.
Walter looks around confused. Like that means something.
And I love it.
Miss Bryant, could I bend your ear for a minute?
Absolutely, Mr. Thorpe.
Well, Captain, if we're going to be here for the night, I guess, do you have any interesting war stories?
Oh, one or two that the radio people fear are a little too vulgar to make into a radio play. But I might suggest.
Did we just lose him?
Wow, today's a day.
This time it's not my fault. This time it's not my fault.
We'll take that.
All right,
pause.
what were you two talking about?
We'll take that pause, and as Verna comes over to Walter, or vice versa, he says, "Don't take this the wrong way, but you seem to be arguably one of the most capable people in this room. I saw you looking around. Did you happen to find any books, particularly any kind of journal of some kind? John has mentioned these hills that generationally goes through. Usually this kind of thing starts as, somebody saw something, thought something, and then it continued to pass down. But we're in the age of technology and writing here, so I assume if a grandfather or great-grandfather had seen something of the kind, he would have written down what was happening."
I didn't find it in the living room or the bedroom, but there's one more room that we haven't yet opened, and there's also the guest lodge right next door.
Right. You know what? You check the master bedroom, and I will.
I have quite thoroughly.
Oh, right. And then I will attend to the other room, the other building.
The other building or the other room?
The other building.
Okay.
And
Perhaps Mr. Redworth can open the kitchen. It's clear that Miss Bryant is not interested in pulling the wood off of the
clearly
door frame.
He says, "Yeah, good luck." And he slides his crowbar into his bag, picks his bag up, and heads out the front door to the outbuilding.
So let's continue over with Mike.
Captain, would you mind helping me with these boards?
You start to loosen those boards, and it will take only a couple of minutes. And for you, Dr. Thorpe, you make your way out. It's a bit harder to navigate, but since you have now opened the front door, got some light from there, there is still some light, but the very last parts of the daylight is now disappearing. The sun proper has set at this point.
He pulls his bag down, opens that flap again, rummages through like a bunch of clanking metal sounds, and pulls out a flashlight.
Nice. Helps immensely, and you venture through the small wooded area with the underbush and stuff, coming up to this other cabin. Door is locked, but it's not boarded.
Locked with like a padlock, or locked with like, you know, like a keyhole.
A keyhole lock on the door. Since it is just its own separate building, it is locked.
Yeah. We're like what, 20 feet away, 10 feet away from the other building.
Yeah.
He's just gonna call back. Hey, John, you have a key to this guest house?
You're more closer to 80 feet, but yeah, you can shout.
He shouts, hoping for a response.
It takes like a minute or so, and then John comes out of the doorway and holds up a key. It's like, yeah, sorry, I forgot. You're gonna need this key. If you shine up the way, I'll head over to you.
Yeah, he lights the way with his flashlight.
Yeah, so it takes about a minute, and you have a key in your hand, making this door
perfect. He opens
locked
this door.
and open and oof.
The door, the building is now hidden, but he's gonna walk.
Yeah, it's supposed to be revealed, and then it's changed to hidden mode. I hate the using Roll20 tools; they're so obnoxious sometimes.
He is going to.
There we go.
He's gonna like kneel down, place his flashlight on the floor, rummage again, and he like undoes a couple of clasps inside his bag and pulls out a like a small like camping lantern, strikes a match and lights it, and sort of places this on whatever he can find as a table.
Yeah, there's a coffee table in the middle. It also has like a few candles on it sitting.
Great.
So there is like lighting in here. There are some of those oil lamps on the walls as well that is made for indoor lighting.
He
So
takes
can...
the spent match, relights it in the lantern, and starts to light the things around the room.
With the light, it's much easier to see. So if you want to search around, you can roll me a spot hidden.
Let me get you with that spot hidden, my guy.
See if you're a god of vision.
I'm not. Let me see here. Alphabet, how do you work? 49 out of 50. Hell yeah.
Still a pass. You look through what is most interesting. There's only like the bed, the dresser, the fireplace table, and a bookcase in here. So naturally, you focus on the bookcase.
That's true.
And you do, after a while of searching and with some of John's help, pointing out what parts would probably be old family heirlooms and journals, you find an old note. And it reads, "My dear grandson Samuel, I will leave this cabin to you in my will, as I know you have the heart to love it and the mind to keep it from decay. It isn't much, but it has been in the family for some time now. I write this to you now, while your mind is still sound and age yet has not come to collect my memories. I write this to you for a very specific reason. There lies a terrible danger not too long from here, and we, the Smiths, have been the caretakers of these parts of the woods and have made sure that no one shall fall to its deadly trap. Not far from here there is a section of the woods that are somewhat hilly, as I know it is not as I know it has no particular name, and it is in the edge of our lands, but you will recognize it for a very particular humming that can be heard. Humming might not be the correct word, but the English language does not have a word for that god-awful sound, as I have come to think of it. Now, my boy, the sound itself is not a danger, but what emits that sound. Underground in the hills there exists something that can only be described as a hive not of bees, but of some god-awful creatures you must make sure no one ever goes near. From what I have been told and from what I know myself, as long as this hive is undisturbed from man, it seems to not venture far for food or water. But there have been stories passed along down within the family that should as much as one individual of this hive be brought from it, the terror of the whole hive shall come down upon us. I therefore ask you now to take on this burden and keep the hills undisturbed and secret, so that no man ventures there in the name of something stupid as exploration or science, but let it be for the safety of us all. I hope that this note will instill a sense of duty in you, my boy, and duty to keep on the long legacy of protecting the people of these lands here. Signed, A. Smith.
Iquin, do I know where in the line Samuel is compared to John?
Samuel is John's grandfather.
Okay, cool. All right. Shh. Ghosts. It's my Google Home heard cool and thought I was talking to it. He shows this to John. Does this make any sense to you?
A. Smith. I think this is my great-grandfather, Arthur Smith, and he passed when I was very young, but Samuel, I think, must be my grandfather. They have never shown me this note nor spoke about it before. I don't even know if my father Greg knows about this. Maybe Greg and Martin were handed down as the caretakers, and that's what father was supposed to tell me. Pass on the torch, but so far he hasn't done it yet.
Okay. Well, we should get back to the main cabin, and we should tell everyone about this. Let's see what happens. And he sort of like claps John on the shoulder, and leaves him standing in there and walks by him. He grabs his lantern, walks by him, carrying backpack, lantern, and torch.
John looks at the note, looks very worried, and follows you closely by. We jump back to the main building, and some few minutes back in time. You loosen the boards. It can be done by hand. It takes a bit longer than if you would have the crowbar, but it's not too impossible since these were not as properly placed as the outer shell ones were. And the door is made available to you. So
you can sneak through.
Just make it food.
Okay. I hadn't gone, I was just getting beer.
Yep.
This time.
So, who was it? It was Redworth, Oak, and Dashwood. You were the ones. No, sorry. It was Redwood and Miss Bryant, who was going to look into the kitchen.
Yes. So once the door is free, Miss Bryant will head into the kitchen and give it a look. Redworth, are you coming?
Of course.
It does look like a very primitive kitchen. There is like one of those cabin metal, what do you call them? Fireplace with stove top on top of it.
Potbelly stove.
Yes, a potbelly stove in there with like a chimney leading to the outside. And there's some, storage things, some shelves and such to store food. There is no refrigeration yet. It's too early in time for that. But there are like boxes and crates that keeps food in here. There is no running water, but you can see that there are some like jugs filled with water that are sitting inside here, probably spring water from outside. And you can also roll me spot hidden to look for more fun things in here than the eye first sees. Yes, you see everything. All is laid clear for you.
Since I'm in the room, I'm going to roll it anyway. Probably fail, but apparently not.
There you go.
Nice.
Apparently, everyone has Hawkeyes in this party. You both look around and you notice that in the middle there's kind of like a kitchen table with those benches, no backs, just benches you sit on, very primitive to eat, so you can fit a lot of people at the same time. And as you look around, you look underneath, you find a glass jar that has something. It's kind of a big glass jar. We're thinking like cookie jar size of glass jar with a screw on top. And there is something inside that is about the size of a softball. It looks weird and sort of something rolled up into a little ball. It has like, that kind of insect fur like bumblebees has, but it's in the size of a softball.
So, did we see the
What
note?
in the bloody hell is this?
Did we see the note before we came into this room, or did that happen after?
No,
We
the
haven't
note,
seen the note.
Yeah, you haven't seen the note. The note, they are just now going in searching as you're searching at the same time.
And what is the color of this furry thing?
It is like patterned. It is mostly yellow, but it's kind of gray in some areas. I want to compare it to a bumblebee. It doesn't have that kind of pattern, but it is two colored. So they have like patches of black on a more yellow background, so to say. Spotted bumblebee is kind of like what your mind goes to, but softball sized.
Verna will say, "Oh, curious," and she's gonna just be looking at it and taking notes in her notebook and maybe trying to draw a sketch of it.
I think Dashwood will pops his head around the door. Bee, you say? It's not one of those African killer bees. I read about those in the National Geographic.
Elias will pick up the jar and be like, "This is quite large."
Excellent. All three of you, even you, Dashwood, since you were peeking in, can roll me sanity checks then. Because you've now picked up the jar. That means that you moved it.
Ah.
So I just click on sanity.
Where the hell is it? Yeah.
Yes, you click on sanity. Let me just read my little notes for how much sanity you lose for these things. I think it was nice and plenty of it. There we go. So, who succeeded? Of course you did. Succeed on everything. Really don't want to be killed this time, do you, Drather? You take one sanity loss, or Miss Bryant does for succeeding. And let's see. You need to go to edit mode and then edit it down. The other two of you are going to lose some more sanity because you failed. So, not as much as I was hoping for, but you take 5. So both of you can, no, sorry, not 5, 4. Both of you can go into edit mode.
You can't talk.
No, and you can deduct 4 points of your sanity. And these rolls are the ones you can't use luck and you can't use push. These just happen. And what happens is that as soon as Professor Redworth takes up the charge, startling the little ball unfurls itself in like a split hair of a second and just flops out. And what is now in front of you is some weird, still bumblebee-ish looking creature in the size of a softball, but instead of having those kittens or chitons, or how you pronounce it, as insects usually have, they're like plates and the insect legs. It unwraps a bunch of tentacles coming out underneath it.
Hold on. I thought it was in a closed jar.
It is in a closed jar, but you can see through the glass. No, you can see through the glass. You saw a ball that now unfurs, like super speedily, just pops out, and you see it pops out a bunch of tentacles underneath it, and then 2 wings that are in the shape and kind of looks like bat wings, but they are stiff and vibrating like insect wings. And you start to hear a very soft hum coming as it vibrates its wings inside the jar.
Egads, what is this thing?
Evil.
Is it chitin, chitin? How do you pronounce that word?
I always pronounced it chitin.
It's chitin.
Chitin. Right?
No, it's pretty good. I just thought you said kittens at the beginning.
It's
Yes.
obviously it's evil
You know-
kittens. That's
you know, that's
exactly
Evil
what it
kitten
is.
bees.
It does not have any kittens as insects usually have, you know.
Iquin, give us next time evil kittens, please.
It
Put that in
unfurls.
now.
It unfurls its evil kittens, and tentacles come out. Oh god.
This
Yeah,
is the cutest evil monster ever.
You-
I'm not sure you should have picked that up, Mr. Redwood.
Elias will rather quickly put it back down on a table.
You can see that the thing starts to sort of fly inside of the glass jar and sort of starts to smash against the glass like, and you see at every time it does, it sort of tries to bite at the glass, and you can hear, you know, that fingernails on blackboard sound coming from it, and you can see how it starts to form the same kind of very thin, very small scratches on the inside of the glass that you saw on the wood next to the skeleton.
Afraid to
Verna.
report, if it's an evil bee, it probably has an evil hive.
Verna says, "Oh dear," and then she drops her handkerchief over it.
It's still humming. It sounds less than a nice and much more like 1,000 wasps in the same place humming together in like, what do you call it, like disharmony. It's a very like crude, not easy to listen to sound.
Basically, it sounds like 1,000 bees all
But
buzzing
in
at
disharmony,
once.
but in disharmony somehow.
Yeah, Verna's gonna step backwards through the kitchen door.
Yeah, Dashwood won't be in the way. He'll have taken several steps back when he was, going, trying not to go so crazy he does the fish stick, which has not yet been invented. So it would be some sort of flapping, which is bad. when bees are
Elias
concerned.
is going to walk out of the room and close the door behind him, and he's going to call for John.
We can switch back at this point to the outside. And as you two are leaving the smaller cabin to head back to the large one, John suddenly stops and sort of puts his hand on your shoulder, and he's like, "Do you hear that?" You can roll me a listen check.
Ooh. I fail.
You can always try.
He straight up
it's-
just says he fails.
I did not put things in listen. Let's see here. Oh, so close. No.
It's like a very disharmonious humming. I wonder if that was it. It does remind me. It was several years ago, but it kind of sounds like the humming hills. And as he points it out, and you like starts to listen a bit, where he he puts his ear up in a direction towards the woods. You can, after like 2 or 3 seconds, just focusing him pointing it out, you start to hear something that sounds awful, like a humming of thousands of bees, all in disharmony with each other's, and it's very faint at the moment, ever so faint.
Yeah, he picks up his step. He heads in towards the door. I
You
assume they're
hear,
probably oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you hear as you sort of approach the door, you hear Professor Redwood call out for John.
He hears the voice and just shouts over anything that John was about to say. We're looking for some kind of tiny creature, I think, or a sizable buzzing or humming creature. Anyone find anything like that?
My dear
Tiny
doctor?
creature? Well, there's a bee in a jar. There's a tiny creature in a jar in the kitchen.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
And it's evil, and it means us ill and wants to kill us.
Great,
I mean,
great,
it
great,
probably
great.
wants
Okay,
to
let's-
rip all the flesh from our bones
Yeah,
with
yeah.
its swarm,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
dead fellow.
Less talking. Somebody put up some kind of board on the window that I bashed in, and he's like running towards the building, ignoring both Dashwood and Redworth, who seem to be too dapper for his taste, too
Couldn't we
armchair
get
academic.
rid of the thing?
He looks to Verna and says, Miss, where is the board up the window, please. Miss, where you said there was a creature?
Yes, it's in the kitchen, and she shows her sketch that she made of the creature.
Excellently terrifying. He does not even glance at it. He's gonna move right towards the kitchen and look for this thing.
Oh.
Do be
You see-
careful.
You see a large glass, actually you wouldn't see, you see a large something underneath a handkerchief.
Is Walter smart enough to assume that this lady's handkerchief is covering said monstrosity?
I mean, it does look out of place sitting on the table, being covered there, and
Sure.
yeah, it's also humming.
Great. He is going to take that, and with all of his sense, he's going to take this thing with the handkerchief still on it. So just pick it up from the top, run it back to the door, making sure John's in here, and he just chucks this thing out of the door and then
John is
closes
not.
the door.
John is not in fact in here. John is standing close to the building itself, but he sort of stopped where he was listening for that sound. And it looks like he's standing there watching, trying to see what it is. And now when you come to chuck this thing out, the humming sound has now increased in level. All of you, as you stop and realize it, the humming has taken up in volume. You can also, everyone can hear the humming coming from outside, and it seems to be growing in loudness. Also, you who are outside can roll me a spot hidden, which would be Thorpe.
I was gonna say, I guess I'm technically outside.
You're technically close enough to it.
Nope.
Right, you have no idea.
He goes, he like opens, the door's open, but he goes to the door, sees John, calls to him. Does he like, John, we gotta get inside.
Oh, yeah, but what is that? It looks.
Don't worry about it. Get in.
Look at
Get
that
in.
cloud.
Get in the house.
He sort of starts to slowly move, but you can see that he's focused on
John!
something you can't see from your direction.
John, dear
He's not
fellow,
moving
you have
fast.
to live if you ever want
Quickly.
me to repay that money I owe you.
Yeah. The money. You gotta. Oh, you get it. Get in the damn house, John.
As soon as I have
Just-
a good run of luck at the card table.
It's just this weird humming, and it looks like it's a cloud coming this way.
Oh,
The
that's
wind is
swarm.
going the other way.
Is John close enough to be grabbed around the collar?
Not at all.
Okay.
You need
Wait.
to actually take a couple of steps out to drag him back in.
He will. He's gonna keep an eye on the to not like slip this thing out of his hand. But he's gonna grab for John. Take a couple steps out, grab for him, and like pull him into the building.
Yeah, Dashwood's gonna grab the couch or a table and put it against the door as soon as Walter's in.
And
You see-
while this has all been happening, I think Verna would have been working with Redworth to try to close
If
up the window.
Verna pulls Redworth to start boarding stuff, Redworth will help.
Sure. You can roll me strength to
Yeah.
see how good you can board it
Yeah.
up again with nailing everything in place. Thorpe, when you pull John in, since you have to take a couple of steps out, you get a better angle to see what he's been looking at. And it does look like a very dark black storm cloud drifting against the wind coming for you. And it also is the point of where the humming is coming from, now being very much louder.
Great. Walter wants nothing to do with any of that. And so he's gonna grab John by his collar and just sort of pull him out of his stupor towards the door.
Yeah, he doesn't resist it, but it's not really helping either. It seems like he's just shut off.
Yeah,
And
he's gonna like yank him and like shove him towards the door, and like once he gets him, whether he stumbles and falls, whatever, he gets him inside the door, and he just sort of chucks the glass jar with the handkerchief, just throws it out into the wilderness, and then closes the door behind him. His intention is to break
we have any
that
bug
glass.
spray. We may require a lot of bug spray. Some of that sodium phosphate.
you hear the glass shattering as you close the door, and you can still, and all of you can hear that the humming is now starting to become like at a talking level, like it's the same level of volume as you people talk to each other in the room, and it's all disjointed and in disharmony, starting to be millions of humming noises.
Walter like kind of shouts over it, John, you gotta give Miss Verna the note.
Yeah, here, sure. And you can see that he looks kind of like in shock. He doesn't seem to really grasp much of the situation at all. But he holds out the note for you to grab.
He's got the shell shock. I saw it all the time in the trenches.
Verna takes the note and reads it. Oh, do you think that's what that creature was?
Yeah, I can't imagine there would be anything else. It was humming and buzzing or whatever. And if they act like bees, the guy said hive or something. I imagine it says if one of them is taken away, the fury of the whatever will be brought down. So I figure we release it back to the wild. It goes back to the hive. They leave us alone. Hopefully, that's my thoughts here.
Smoke.
They seem very angry. I do hope that you did the right thing.
Yeah, me too.
If they're at all like the bees dear Uncle Arthur used to keep, they do not like smoke, so perhaps we light a fire.
You can now hear the humming being very loud. So you people need to start shouting to each other to hear over the humming that it is. And it doesn't take very long from going from just a very loud humming till you hear thousands and thousands of like things hitting the sides, hitting the ceiling and the roof of, not ceiling, roof is the outside part of it, like
for a second, Walter like stands in awe at looking at Dashwood as the realization that he said something smart sinks into his head, and he goes, "You might that actually might be that might be true. Is there fire? Is there wood in the fireplace?
There
Is there a
isn't wood in
fireplace?
there is yeah, that's how they keep warm. So in the kitchen you have that potbelly thing that gives off, and in the living room you have this part thing. Come on, god damn it.
That thing?
Yes, this thing over here, that is a
An
fireplace.
open fire.
Yeah,
That is an open fireplace.
and he starts. Is there wood in it?
There's not wood in it, but you could place wood in it
Great.
to light. There's wood in the kitchen that you saw
Okay.
earlier. Or the ones who were in the kitchen have seen that
Verna starts to help and carry wood over to Dr.
Dashwood's going to stick some brandy on a rag that was wrapped around the bottles to use that for accelerant.
Sure.
Yes, knowing that the other two rooms, at least the other one room that he saw, was not any more like safe than this room. Like he'll close the doors once the fire like starts going, trying to make as much smoke as possible.
You hear the sounds of thousands, perhaps even millions of suction cups, like chittering all over the building, all around it on the outside. You hear the god-awful sound of like fingernails on chalkboard as you can hear all the glass everywhere starts to be like something is working and trying to get its way in. start to make up the fire. You hear like the coming down the chimney, and you can hear as soon as the fire takes, you hear that like humming sound being really loud and being in the chimney, like, and then sort of moving away as the smoke starts to rise from it.
Somebody light the stove. The stove is gonna get lit.
Verna will go light the stove.
You enter the kitchen, and because we got that very nice corruption bar, the bees are already in here. They have already managed to climb down the chimney of the stove as you were setting the fire in the open fireplace, and they are swarming out.
So she walks in, back straight, opens up the door, sees that, and then just steps back and closes the door and says, "I don't think that's a good idea."
No, they've compromised the place.
Seeing that, Walter will immediately grab like a couch, like a chair or sofa or whatever's closer, and just start to push it against that door.
Yeah.
Dash.
It'll bring boards, and we'll try and seal it.
You
I have
put the
some more
sofa against
boards
it.
here.
As you're starting to try to seal it, you see tentacles sort of starting to protrude from underneath the door in the small opening that is there. And you can see how the bees are trying to start to push themselves through. They seem to be much more soft-bodied than insects are. So you can see like first some tentacles coming in, and then like a head shrinking, being pushed through. So you have like this puffing out on one side, the door thing going, and then you imagine it being still puffy on the other
Redworth
side.
thinking quickly is going to seize the blanket from off the skeleton and try to stuff it under the door.
Yeah.
I would say roll me contested strength to push them back. And they will going to try. Well, actually, you will roll strength to push them back. They will roll to see if they can bite you.
Can I push this?
Yes, you can.
So pushing is just a reroll.
You describe to me what you do differently, and then you, if I think that's good enough, which is usually with this group, then you get to reroll. But if you fail, a catastrophe will ensure. But yeah, you can definitely tell me what you do differently, and then you roll it again.
Well, Redworth is going to ignore any like potential things biting out because he's going to take his full arms instead of just his hands and try to basically use his whole set of arms to push this under the door and pack it under there.
Okay. Roll me again and see if you succeed. They got a success.
Hard success.
You got a hard success, which beats a success. You're in luck today. You shove this like fabric hard in, just shoving back everything, making sure not to put any fingers in like their mouthpieces, and you manage to get the fabric lodged inside before you get bitten.
Excellent work, Professor. Capital.
Does Verna see that Elias has been bitten?
No one's been bitten. He got a hard success.
Oh,
which means
before I see. Okay,
Yeah,
so he
so
did instead of getting bitten. Okay, got it.
Yeah, hard success beats a success. So he managed to get his thing fixed.
Walter looks to John. Is he wearing a coat, like a jacket of some kind?
The 1920s, yes.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I would say he wears something like normally stylish for a gentleman in his 30s.
Perfect.
Has like a nice jacket on, some like, it's more, woodsy gear than like fine going around.
Great.
Because he was going out into the woods.
I'm not here to critique him. Walter walks across the room and says, "John, jacket," and he begins to like help John out of his jacket.
Yeah, that's needed, but he doesn't resist, so you get his jacket.
And he's just gonna jam it underneath the bedroom door, the same way.
Yep. I just figured out the way to describe the cacophony of sound. It sounds like a whole stadium are blowing vuvuzelas right next to you. That is kind of the sound that it emits from these creatures.
That's awful.
Yeah, pot
I
noodle
know what
horn
that.
would have
The
been
thing
way
is,
better.
I know what that sounds
Yeah.
like. It is awful.
Pot noodle horn would have been way better. Please sponsor us, pot noodles.
So-
While Walter's doing that, Verna's going to be doing what she can to increase the fire.
Yeah, you have a nice fire going. It takes a couple of minutes, but it's now like blazing, going up. You're pretty sure that they seem to not trying to get down this way. You don't see any of them like trying to look up the chimney as good as you can from your vantage point. You don't see any of them coming down at this moment down here. So you do gather that the fire is keeping them in check for this place. Takes a couple of minutes more, and then suddenly, as it's sort of progressed very slowly, coming to this cacophony, now it just suddenly stops and it becomes dead quiet.
Well, that's not good.
Or maybe it's great.
No.
I still wouldn't open any of those doors.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with
I think we probably put the boards back quick smart.
Are there any extra boards?
Yeah, we've still what did we put the window back? And
We
we've
did.
still got all the ones
Yeah,
from the
we put the
door, and it
window
was
back.
OTT. We've got the ones from 2 doors.
That's right. We haven't reboarded up the doors. That might, yes, let's do that.
Walter will assist with that as well.
Redworth's going to make a particular attention on board to boarding up like any gaps, like the covering up the bottom with the jacket or blankets stuffed in.
Yeah, it's that odd taking a knife to take the sofas apart.
You're talking about the front door now, I presume.
Yeah.
Sure. You continue to board that up as well, putting some fabric in there. And it keeps very quiet. You only hear yourself talking. You hear like the hammering when you put the boards up. But the rest is very deathly quiet. Doesn't even sound like there's any wind rustling through the leaves. No, nothing outside.
This reminds me of the sound that it was like in the trenches before we put a big push on back in the big one. The artillery would stop. Nothing would be heard. And then charge at the enemy or walk, depending on which particular crazy general was in charge of your company.
Fascinating. Verna's taking notes.
Walter just sort of walks back and forth, like pacing in front of the door.
Should we take this moment to run to the car?
No.
I am inclined to agree. Something about this predatory nature. I will say whether it is coincidence or happenstance, but these whatever these are, did not attack in the sunlight. They seem to have waited until nightfall, perhaps. Perhaps that has something. I know causation is not correlation and all that, but could be that they are nocturnal of some kind. The note did say they live underground as well, so perhaps it is a darkness situation.
I think we should stay with the light and stay with the fire. Keep stoking it till morning. There's plenty of furniture in here we can break down.
Yeah.
Underground? And then Verna is going to be looking at the floor and then kind of tapping it, making sure that the floorboards are firm.
Ooh.
Explode
You
out
were-
like an oil well.
You start to tap on the floorboards, and you actually came to exactly where I was going to go next with this. As you start to tap on the floorboards, you only manage to tap about 2 or 3 before one of them is loose, It's not one of the ones you tapped on, but rather in the other corner, a bit in front of the master bedroom door. One of them not flushes open, but it sort of gets suddenly opened up, and all of these creatures come sort of more or less crawling in as they sort of pull themselves with their suction cups and from the tentacles coming around, sucking in. And it seems like as soon as you started tapping floorboards, there seems to be some kind of intelligence in this, because they seem to have understood that they were made and started to make sound and just bursted up through that floorboard, and it sort of smacked it, made it go loose, and then they started to come in, and it's filling up the space very quickly, because as soon as they were made, it started flying again, and the buzzing is back, louder than ever. What do you want to do?
There's liquor. We could burn it.
Let's light some fires.
As soon
Yeah.
as Dashwood says that, Walter reaches around to the hook on his bag and pulls up the kerosene lamp, and just chucks the kerosene lamp at the basically like where the door meets the floor, where these things are starting to come out of, and strikes a match and throws it.
Good man. Dashwood's gonna use his use sleight of hand and uncork a bottle of the 171 proof brandy and drench it on the fire.
You do all that. There's a large fire erupting out from all the kerosene and match being made, the other liquor starting to catch. But these are a swarm of creatures, and even though you get maybe 30 or 40 of them, more is just coming in, swarming in from underneath the place at this moment, and they are quickly bearing down on you. So you all can take a round of trying to defend against a bite. As it works, they are going to use their bite attack, and you have the option of taking it, trying to dodge it, fighting back, or doing some kind of maneuver, something of your own thing that you want to do. And when you do fighting back, you need to have a better success than they have, because then you can do damage to them. But if you meet their success, they will win doing damage to you. If you dodge, however, it's the opposite. If you meet it, you beat it. So you only have to have the same level of success, but no damage gets dealt. And I will roll for that's for Thorpe, and then we get Dashwood, then we get Redworth, and then last we get Bryant. So today apparently you want to kill Mike.
Yeah, I noticed that because that was a 2.
He was too nice to you earlier. Suspicious.
When I think Verna, while everybody else was lighting things on fire, etc., would have taken the lamp lighter and her wrapped a jacket around the end and her jacket on the end, and then lit it on fire. And then her goal here is not to attack with this thing, but rather hold them off with it.
Sure, that is like a combat maneuver thing. So roll your fighting brawl skill to sort of keep them off using
Could we consider that a
fire.
dodge?
No? Yes, I can be nice to you since I've already killed so many of your characters. You can get a dodge.
Right.
So yeah, you dodge, manage to use that fire to keep them at bay. They are, however, very fastly becoming very many. They're like cornering you all in here by just sheer numbers. The rest of the people choose. Let's start with Mike to see what happens with him. Do you want to fight back or dodge?
I will. I'll fight back, I guess. My dodge is atrocious.
Okay.
So he reaches into his bag and pulls out his revolver and just starts to fire at these things. So let's see what happens.
Rules as written, you have to use fighting brawl in melee, but I really hate that. So just use your firearm skills.
Okay.
It's-
Hard success
it's-
does not beat an extreme success. So
It does not. So you fire with a gun, but they are, even though they are softball sized, a softball size that sort of swarms around is still hard to hit. And one of them makes it to you, latches on, and you feel a burning pain as you can feel kind of 2, 3, maybe 4 pairs of teeth rip away some of your flesh. And then you feel kind of like those mosquito things coming down, 2 of them, and they just suck your blood out with force out of your arm. Yeah,
That sounds
so
terrible, but he could use luck, right, in order to like decrease that roll.
you can. So if you want to go even further down, you can use burn luck to not have that happen to you.
what is
You need to have a
1/3 of
fifth.
75, 25?
One fifth. Should be on your character sheet.
It isn't.
On Foundry's character sheets, they say they say that to your side, doesn't it say on the skills as well? Then
It does, but not under weapons. So I need a 15. So yeah, I'll spend 4 luck. I got 50 of it. So oops, not wrong button. Sorry, I got it.
Yeah.
Mode. Yeah. So I'll spend 4 luck to make it a hard success.
So instead, what happens is that it sort of latches onto you, and you just take your gun and you're like, nope, and smacks it off.
Yeah, I'll say because I fired like the barrel's like hot, and I just hit it with the hot barrel down my jacket. Does it sound like they're outside, or do they all swarm underground, or can I not tell because it's so loud?
And it's so loud that you can no longer tell. They almost drown out the sound of the gunfire.
Gotcha. Wow.
It is like it's hurting. That's how loud this is. It is not pleasant at all. Extreme success. Then you also get okay. So in reality, in reality, you would need an even more success. But I will be nice. I've been nice to the others. I can be nice to you too because you did give me flattery, and I can count that as a dodging with the gun rather than firing. So you do no damage to the bees, but I will let you get away with having 1-2 less failures because you need an actual critical to get below the extreme success of them to deal damage. And you're muted. You did it opposite.
I muted myself as I was going to go talk. I'll spend to get a critical if you want.
If you spend to get a critical, then you can deal some damage. But also there are several of them, and you will shoot one.
Yeah. I'm not trying to kill these things. There's a million of them in a swarm.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to not get eaten by one. He looks around as these things are swarming into the room through the fire on the floor, and looking again to Verna. He says, "I think your idea might have been better than this," referencing leaving.
Yeah.
Let's make a break for it, I think.
First, we just need to resolve the other 2. So we have, let's see. Nope, that was a failure. That was a failure. However, do you you can fight back if you want to kill one of them each. Because if you just get a success, that's better than their failure. So you could actually deal damage to 1 bee each out of the thousands that are swarming in. If you would choose Redworth and Dashwood.
Can I melee with pure strength? They don't get a counter in this system, do they?
It's fighting brawl is the skill you use.
But that includes does that include strength? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fisticuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nah.
Okay. Yeah. Then do you want to make a break for it?
Well, may as well. Charge of the light brigade and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the thing? Because they don't have athletics here. I think it's something else for running. Is it just running? Can never remember. Everyone has their own like skill set for doing stuff.
There is no running away skill.
No.
There's no like run skill.
No. it's just the movement part, and then you're supposed to do a whole system that I'm not going to do. I think they're running away. They're running away. Rules are way too much things. But yeah, I would say, where are you all heading?
The car.
The car.
Two more questions. Who is leading the charge to the car?
I think Verna's going to come follow at the end, and we'll just be waving her fire.
Oh, remember, I forgot to attack John. He should also get a bite. Because I keep forgetting that John exists. Because I'm kind of done with him now.
Yeah, you could have killed him off earlier, and it would have been poignant and made less work for you.
I actually forgot to even do anything to dodge the bite because I think I got forgotten too.
No,
it missed.
Yeah, it missed you.
You could have swung for it if you wanted.
Nah.
So that's why I was asking if you wanted to counterattack, because it already missed you, and you could just do counterattacking, but you would kill one.
I'm not gonna get anger the bees at me anymore.
So one of the bees have made it on to John, and so that just slams down into his chest, gets down, and you can hear him scream as he gets bitten, because he failed, and I'm not gonna use anything for him. He is just gonna fucking take it. He's gonna die.
Savage.
Make a good suggestion, why not? I do say, maybe we bring the half of John that has his keys. They weren't in his jacket, were they?
Do I have John's keys? Because he gave me the key to open the other door.
Yeah, if you didn't give them back, which you didn't say, you should have the keys.
Yeah. Yeah. He reaches into his pocket and jingles the keys.
Well, let's go.
Looks like you just got yourself a Duesenberg.
I think the only window the only thing not boarded up is the window, because it just had the couch in front of it, I think, right?
No, you put the if I understood you correctly, everything's boarded up in here except that you put the couch in front of the kitchen door and then put some rags underneath it.
I think the front door is actually not boarded up. That has furniture in front of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, he's just gonna pull. I assume with assistance here, pull whatever furniture is out from in front of the door, and make a beeline. No pun intended.
Go.
Towards the car.
Excellent. Sure. While you're trying to get all of the furniture away from the door, trying to get the bees to keep their distance with your kind of improvised torch, they are going to go another round trying to bite everyone in the same order. So only the torch wielding Miss Bryant, gets an actual success.
Only because it's an NPC. I'll remind you, I quit to attack John.
All right, yes, thank you. I always forget to attack John. There we go. Yeah, they attacked him.
He's done for.
Sorry,
poor John.
I remind you that I owed the gentleman a considerable sum of money. It was poker or horse racing. I can't remember which.
So 2 1s. John is so fucking lucky. So there are now 2 bees on Johnny because the first one doesn't let go. He continues to suck the life out of John as another bee sits upon him and starts to chug out, and you can hear him scream again. He is getting a bit wobbly as well. Right.
Verna's going to try and dodge her bite.
Sure. Roll me the dodge.
I will.
Would you like?
I'll use 2 luck.
Some luck. Yeah. That means that you will succeed because that was just a success on their part as well. And you managed to keep them away, and everyone else is sort of managed to keep them at bay as you now have managed to get the door open. Opening the door, starting to sprint out, immediately a swarm of them just rises up from the roof and sort of forms into like this small cloud wearing down on top of you from above.
I'm not surprised.
And you make it out into the open field, running for the car. You're gonna get another round of bites against you as you flee out into the night. Same order. And there we go. So this time it would have been... first one is Mike, then it was Dashwood, and then it's Redworth. Redworth, you have a success on you now. And Miss Bryant has nothing, and then it's another one on John. All right, wait, John gets actually two
success. Yep.
He gets two dodges. I forgot. He gets a dodge for extreme, and then he gets another one for the normal one. So nope, he misses both. So yeah, damage stands, and he has another one on top of him. Yes, let's resolve that. No, it's 3d4s. Yeah, he gets slammed by another bee, comes like flying
Poor
from
John.
above, just smacks down in his back, and you can hear him scream, and whoever's pulling John feel his grip soften, and he just falls forward.
I don't
And
think is anyone pulling John?
I don't know. I just assume that you're still trying to save John.
It definitely seems like a everyone for themselves moment right now.
Dashwood would act like he wanted to save him, but come on. He is an actor on this new radio format. He can act.
Since no one wanted to save John, you hear a last scream from inside a cabin before it like goes quiet, so to speak, because nothing here is quiet. And John is not coming out with you. You cannot see him as you'd make a dash to the car. Moving on.
I think we've lost one.
Redworth, you have a hard success against you. Do you want to try to dodge or do something else? You can also fight back.
Well, I just rolled dodge, and well,
You roll dodge. Oh, there we go. And you failed. You have to burn quite a lot of luck to get down to that number. What is it? It's like...
I don't think I even have enough luck
Like
to get
45 or something like that.
Yeah. Then do you have 45 luck to burn? You cannot,
I do.
unfortunately. You can't unfortunately push this because as it's intended to do work, you should have combat rounds in dexterity order. But I ignore that. So now we have the combat rounds in my order, and you can't re-roll like pushing. I do allow the luck burning because you have thousands of opponents in this one.
The thing is, even if I burn luck and just make it a success, it's still a hard success, and I still fail.
Yeah, so
That
you
is
need
true.
to get down. You need to get down to half of 27.
If I burn 45, I only got 55 luck. That would only it wouldn't work.
You've run then out into the field, and you also feel one of the bee-like creatures coming from above. You hear that deafening, roaring, humming sound, the Vuvuzela sound, and then you realize that one of them is growing a lot louder, and then suddenly you feel this impact in the back of your, like between your shoulder blade, followed by this searingly hot pain as you feel flesh getting ripped apart from your back, and then something like jams in, and you feel like a suction that is beyond this world, as you also will take some damage for this.
Ah, son of a...
1 point of damage.
Yay.
That's 3 ones I've rolled for damage.
Great,
If not
keep it
more,
up.
4. Was there anyone else? I think so. Mike's
Bat bees.
one. Yeah, they have like bat wings instead of normal wings.
Just
Bat
like
bee.
you name them bat bees.
Yeah. What do you want me to call them? Cthulhu, hideous super beasts from underground.
Yeah.
Bat bees. Where was I?
Well, they have
so many
tentacles, so I
things.
guess bat octobees.
I think Mike, we didn't resolve you. You also got hit by it.
No,
No?
I'm the first person.
Yeah, wasn't it?
So it was a failure against me, a success on number 2, a failure on 3, and a success on 4, and a success on John Smith. So I believe it was.
Wait. John is the hard success, then it's a failure, then it's a hard success, then it's a failure, and it's a hard success. You should be the first hard success up here with 18.
Balls. The 18 is me. Shit. I misread that. Okay, cool.
22 was John.
Gotcha.
So there we
gotcha,
go.
Gotcha. Hard success. What am I gonna do? I shit. My fight them back skill is better than my dodge skill. Because dodge is like literally the dodge skill, right? Not dexterity.
Nope, it's the dodge skill.
Yeah. So I'll shoot.
Oh, also, Eichmann, I'd like to point out, I think when you roll them and they hit, it actually does roll the damage too as well, because there is a marker on the side that says, "Oh, damage for 1, 1, 3."
I clicked twice, so 99 out of 75. Still a super hard miss, but not a critical miss.
Oh yeah, they say 4 there.
99 and 100. That's amazing.
Yeah. I accidentally clicked twice. Let's not take a critical failure here.
I mean, I could. No, fine. You get the 99. You don't have your weapon jamming on you. You just missed the shot. Good for you to spot that it actually does roll damage. I was looking at the bottom of it for some reason, and then I missed it. It says damage in the middle. That's good to know. Then I don't have to roll that much
Do
more
I still
things.
do I have to take that 4 now, or can I just keep the 1?
No, you can take the 1. It's fine. If I fuck it up, yeah, you can actually at least be nice enough to don't have to fuck you over with it. Yeah, so you also fail, which means that this hard bite success that was you, which was the 18, also gave 4 points of damage to you, as you also get slammed by this humming, nearly like rupturing your what do you call it? Eardrums, you call them. And then you feel that sort of sucking feeling of tentacles sitting into your back, and then the burning sensation of flesh being ripped apart from your back, and then the suction is like it's kind of like, you know, taking a breath of water. That shock that you get.
I hate that.
Yeah,
4
it's because these are horrible creatures that I invented.
Thank you.
And can't name, because Nocturnus bees would have been killer.
And just call them nocturnal killer bat beasts of Cthulhu.
Little long. You're going to need an acronym
there. Right. So John is gone. The others are a bit bruised and bloodied. For the next round, the 2 of you who have beasts on you, they continue to just drain you without having to roll any additional things. You have to succeed on a strength check, a normal success, to swat them away from you to make them stop. Otherwise, they will just continue to accumulate damage. So you reach the car, and you get into the car. And who is aiming for the driver's seat?
Jesus, I forgot my
Not
name.
Redworth.
Walter will hold out the keys as he's trying to get this thing off of him. His concern is himself right now, and there are 2 people that don't have a giant bat bug on their back. So he holds the keys up for either Verna or Dashwood to take the keys, so he can get this thing off of his back. And definitely not because my drive automobile skill is trash.
I never took it. Don't worry.
I don't think it. I definitely trash too.
Would Verna be aware that Dashwood is a driver or not? Prof?
Some people, my dear girl, drive, he would have said. Others are driven.
Got it. So Verna is not a driver either, but because she's not aware that Dashwood is a driver, she's in service. So she's going to go ahead and grab the keys and start the car.
You all have now made it into the car. The car is immediately swarmed by all of these insects. You can hardly see anything out the windshield in any direction. And the two, it's Redworth and Thorpe needs to do strength checks. You can burn luck, but this is part of the combat. They have like automatic successes as soon as they grab
I'll
one.
burn the 8 luck.
I will
Burn the
burn
eight
the
luck.
24 luck.
Both do. You both get successes. You manage to swat away these creatures before getting into the vehicle, getting them off you. As you do, you can feel that you are like heavily bleeding out of your backs, but it's not that sucking that they forcefully suck out your bodily fluids anymore, at least.
Thankfully.
And thankfully. So, Verna, do you want to do anything against the problem, or do anything for the problem of having about zero vision at the moment?
Verna, is there lights on the car? I don't know.
There are
Mhm.
there are lights on the cars. That means, do you have headlights? They are on.
So, okay, then that's about all she's gonna do. Yeah, she'll turn
Do the
on
windshield
the
wipers work?
She's gonna turn on the windshield wipers.
You know what? This is the excellent case of roll me luck to see if you can get them to be swatted off with just
Sure.
windshield wipers.
Let's cross your fingers, y'all. Okay.
Hey. Hey.
Verna, the
Hell
luckiest
yeah.
woman in the world, right?
It is.
Top, roll up. Everybody
You-
see the luckiest woman in the world.
You turn on the windshield wipers and you manage to swat like one or two, enough so you get some like a bit of clearance between them. So you have like this slight slit of vision, and you need to roll me a hard success on your drive auto to manage to get out of here without further complications.
Yeah, so now really, really cross your fingers, y'all, because I did not invest in drive. But
No
None
one
of us-
did.
I don't think anyone did.
all right, here we go. We're gonna hit the button. Oh, failure.
At least we go out in a blaze of glory.
Hey, here's
This-
a question. Here's a question.
this is
though.
not-
What would I need? What would I need in order to?
10.
I would need
10
a
or 10 or 11. 10 or 11. This, I will tell you this. This is not a combat thing because you are technically out of combat because all the creatures are on the outside currently and you are on the inside currently.
Mhm.
So I will allow you to push this if you want to, or if you can, burn all that luck.
What
Pushing
happens when I
combat-
push? Yeah.
You get to describe to me what you try to do differently, slighter altercations, and you get to re-roll. If you succeed, you succeed, and if you like with the hard success, and if you don't get the hard success, that with everything else will just be counted as a critical failure, which means that I get to make up whatever horrible consequences I want.
All right. So if I don't roll under 20, then it's a critical failure, and there's some horrible consequence.
Technically,
Versus-
you need a hard success for this. You need to roll
under
10 or below.
So guys, I have 63 luck. That means it gets me to 15 or something like
As
that.
long as you basically get 63 or under, you could, with a push, you could just luck it out afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll give some of my luck if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, luck
Too
is
bad
not
that's not a
transferable.
thing.
So
It's
for
worth
the
a
thing,
try.
I
So-
have some bad. I have some bad news. You either push or you get luck. They are not stackable. That
You
would
can't
be
do both, right.
No, this is a game about how horrible reality is on the other side of the veil, and that you are just on your way to slow death and madness.
okay, so basically this is what we're looking at. I can get us to a point where it's not like we're one level of fail is a sure thing. Or we risk it and I roll under 20.
Under 10.
Under 10. Okay. Under 10 and we critically fail. Which one? Do we want to gamble or do we just, want to slightly fail? What do we want to do?
Man. I hate to do this to you, Melissa, but
You want to do a blaze of glory?
I think you have to make this call here.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I think it's on you because I
Yeah.
couldn't even think about it.
all right. Well, I'm gonna go blaze of glory, y'all, because at least that's gonna tell a story, right?
Chick sticks
That's gonna be a
guards,
story. So
glory
here we
lasts
go,
forever.
guys. All right,
Yep.
here we go. Yep.
YOLO!
What if
You,
it actually rolled a 100 as well?
we end tonight's story with the car driving away, the road being very slippery, hazardous. Suddenly, there's a turn you didn't account for. You try to get the car to turn. It slids in the mud. You ram it into a tree. The next morning, since no one has been contacted in a bit, the owner that actually knows about the Smiths from the roadside diner comes up to find a car with 4 very clean skeletons sitting inside it.
So
Love it.
Verna doesn't look like we thought she would look like in that coffin after all.
Yeah.
What
What a shame.
Bees, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
What a shame.
Well, thank you, and I will then say that this is the end of the story. This was a one shot, and I promise to keep it to a one shot, and it is. So now, Mike, man, I can't even pronounce names today. Mike, back to you to wrap it up.
Perfect. I will add Walter Thorpe to my growing list of dead characters from Call of Cthulhu. This is super fun. I love this a lot. This is a very interesting crew for Call of Cthulhu. Still, the most concerning thing about this episode was Verna Bryant herself. But let's go around, do our introductions so that we can get the heck out of here and do our after show. If you guys want access to the after show, the best way to get access to that, or the only way to get access to that, is also the best way to support us over here on the channel, is on our Patreon, link down below in the description. Like all these fine folks you see here before you are also patrons. While you're down there clicking on that link, make sure you click on that Discord link, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. But for now, we will start with the suspicious Verna Bryant. Who are you, Melissa? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Being suspicious.
Yes, I am suspiciously Melissa Meyer. You can find me generally in chat and Discord following all of these folks as Drathdeer. And then I'm actually doing a thing. So next weekend on Saturday, I'm playing Age of Always. Do you remember what the time is for that one, Mike?
Noon Eastern.
Noon on this channel.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's head over to the incomparable Dashwood. Profo, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
When I'm not being an actor of stage, screen, and this new radiogram, it won't catch on. You can find me wherever El Profos are found. If it's an El Prof in a place, it's probably me. Right now, I just posted a new Glenbrook Chronicles fanfic on the wiki, so check that out.
Hell yeah. And the erudite Redworth, Matt, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
I am Matt Ordy. You'll find me here in the one shots on Mike's Discord or in the Patreon campaign as Salitz, where I am the god of the hunting.
And the incomparably savage Iquin, our keeper of arcane lore. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Hello, I am Iquin. I am the friendly neighborhood Swede. I run the Mastodon server for unMadeGaming, so you can find me there and in the Discord where I usually hang out. If you want to play with me, I'm also kind of active in the Looking for Group channel from time to time where I do Call of Cthulhu off camera. If that's more suitable for you, look in there for my next game.
Hell yeah. And that is it from us. As I said, if you guys want access to our after show for this show and all of our previous shows the last 3 years, Patreon is the best way to go, best and only way to go get that. And join us in the Discord. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for all of the corruption bars and all that fun stuff. We will see you next week for more of these shenanigans. So from all of us to you guys, bye-bye.